as you were saying, Jan.
You're muted.
Asking about the breakout room. No, you were asking about the whole.
I was asking about the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, your time is up.
Well, I know I have another obligation. What I wanted to know is this over at 8 or 8:30 or what?
You more like 8:15?
Yeah.
8 what?
8:15.
Okay. I have to go.
Okay.
Bye, and thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. We have some time that we can share if anything came up for you during your breakout time that you would like to share, either in the chat or just unmute yourself and speak up.
Yeah, how was it to engage these questions of your declaration, your church's declaration?
I don't think our group made any individual declarations, but Clay shared a good story about how his church is being kind of Jesus' hands and feet in the Prosper community for those who need a church community to go to.
Mm-hmm.
In our little group, Thomas Pearson spoke about the importance of listening. I thought that was that's something I've been really working on, and we've been at Nativity, we've been focusing in on hospitality and listening to each other, really finding out who we are and whose we are.
Wonderful. So, I mean, part of a declaration at Nativity might even be, this is a place where you can be known and treasured. Or we will know and treasure one another and you know.
At Grace, we welcome the poor.
Mm.
One thing that came up for us is how much we do as an extension of who we are. We don't recognize as ministry. We just recognize it as like this extension of love that we have for one another. That we all are welcoming, but we all welcome in different ways.
Oh, good. Thank you. So we're making a declaration, you know, your church making a declaration. How is that related to having a vision and mission statement? Some of you have been through the process of crafting vision statements or mission statements for a congregation or for an organization. And sometimes those processes can be really rich, but sometimes they can also be like, okay, we put words on a page and now we're done with that. Let's get back to work, right? But the making a declaration in that sense of standing up and saying, this is who we are and what we're here for, has a different feel, right? So can you imagine your church going through a process together? Maybe you already have, or maybe it's sort of organic already in the nature of who you are together. but can you imagine, if you haven't, going through a kind of conversation that gets to that place where it's like, oh, this is what makes us distinct and differently following Christ in this community. What stands out about us is this, and we embrace that. That's actually, it's not what makes us distinct is that we're fuddy-duddy. that's not a missions, that's not a declaration necessarily. It's like an admission, but what's the declaration that you think emerges from that sense of the Spirit being upon you as a people? So we did attach a tool for your eyes and your consideration, and also went out to clergy as well as lay leadership. And there are other resources about how to craft vision and mission statement, but we thought it would be interesting to just kind of say, well, before you actually get to that point of writing that, what's the conversation that needs to happen to get there? To have in your minds and hearts the things that really do matter most. So this is the piece, Sarah, that would be helpful to share. Is this was some work we did at St. Luke's in Coeur d'Alene last October a year ago, not October 2022. First time that they had a vestry retreat in I don't know how long, but it was good work we did. And part of it, we started with that kind of appreciative inquiry kind of perspective of, well, where have we been? What have we looked like at our best at St. Luke's recently and in the past? And there was a great kind of celebration of different events, different people. And then we drilled down into that a little bit more about, well, what made a difference about these people or these events or these things that were done, and what resulted from that. And so that really was a rich conversation. Then we took a break. When we came back, we also shifted perspective from who we've been to where do we find ourselves now? What's the world we're in here in North Idaho and in this county and in this city? And so, not saying who are we now, but what's the world we're in now? And then the corollary question that we were asking with that is, what are we hearing as false or mutated presentations of the gospel around us?
Yeah.
Because there are such, right? So then that led us, that read of the community around us, and also how false lights or mutated lights were being held up around us, took us to the next question: how does St. Luke's understand, proclaim, and seek to follow the gospel differently? And what makes us different, distinct as followers of Jesus? What stands out about us that is not what we're seeing around us? So then we were able to get to question 4, what might God be calling us to do now and ahead in the next year and beyond in this world around us? What is God calling us to, and what are we capable of? We can't do all things, but we could do 1 or 2 things. What are we capable of? And what will we look like then at our best 1 year, 5 years down the road if we're addressing the world around us in this way? So there was such rich discussion, and the process really worked well, and people really dove in. And so we had material. We walked away without crafting a vision or mission statement. It took us a couple of months to kind of work through, and there were a couple of people who were really bringing the initial drafts of the vision and mission statement at the bottom of the page there. But the key thing with the vision that we really wanted to underscore there was we're sharing and celebrating and embodying Jesus's overflowing unconditional love in North Idaho. and that's and then the various things, the areas in which we try to work on that are in the mission statement. So enough on that, but the process is really helpful. And can you imagine doing a process like this in your own congregation? So you can stop share on this. So thoughts or what kind of work have you done on kind of finding your declaration together, that you can say, this is who we are? Yeah, Sandy.
We did a couple of years ago develop our mission statement, which probably is our vision statement by your terminology. And we have since then every year developed a work plan based upon the goals and objectives that we want to do each year to meet those. But we did it similarly to what you did. We looked at what we'd done that we're proud of and what we wanted to do, and then developed our mission, which is at Grace Church, we walk in the way of love to celebrate God's diverse creation. And then we develop our work plan each year based on that.
Others, before we wrap up. Yeah, Dee. Oh, you're muted.
At Nativity, we've been looking around, we've been the area around is lonely, filled with fear, cold and hungry. So we have been, historically, we've been working with both in-reach and outreach. We're looking at having more energy, at not being unafraid to try some new things with some new energy and encouraging. We had a wonderful 12th night celebration the other night, and the whole church, we had a grand time. We enjoyed each other instead of fighting, and everybody went home just feeling good. And we are inviting the neighborhood into things. We're starting to invite the neighborhood in.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Well, to honor time, shall we wrap up here? And feel free to, carry this tool or the ideas from it back into conversation in your own congregation. Sounds like a number of you have already kind of gone down this road already, so it's wonderful.
We're going to finish up by asking ourselves as a whole, so feel free to unmute or put in the chat box, our two questions that all of our groups across the diocese are asking to end any gathering with, which is, what are we doing that Jesus would recognize and love? So that can be, what are we doing this evening? What have we done this evening? Or it can be other places that you're doing things. And where are you looking for and seeing Jesus in our gathering this evening, as well as can be elsewhere? But by focusing on what we did tonight, it helps give our team feedback as well, that we are meeting our goal to help ourselves recognize and see Jesus in our work.
What was the second one again, Susan?
Okay, where are you looking for and seeing Jesus? And I did put him in the chat as well, so you can capture him afterwards if you'd like, Susan, for other meetings in your congregation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Jesus would love that we revisited his event of standing in the church in Nazareth and diving into the application of that in our own lives. Thank you. That's a great one. Yeah, Jesus does love a good challenging question. Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, he asks plenty of them.
Yeah, for sure. We shared with one another in the process, supported and acknowledged our common mission to love one another. Yeah, thank you, Tracy. Other places where, okay, Michelle. Jesus would recognize and love that we are sharing our love and time with one another. This wonderful group of folks serves as an inspiration to and a model for me and as a better person. Thank you, Michelle. Wonderful. And she has a long way to go, she says.
No. That's why we do this together. Why we do it.
That's right. That's right. We don't go alone. And Jesus would appreciate, if not love, that I'm wrestling with the Jesus of my experience and the Jesus of the church. Absolutely. I look for Jesus and how people are helping others in difficult circumstances outside of the church. That's fabulous. Thank you, Jan.
I'm starting to learn that it's not serendipity, it's Jesus.
Wonderful, Dan. Fabulous. Yeah, let's call it like it is, shall we? Oh. I saw Jesus tonight in the work that went into the preparation for the study tonight, both Andrea and David. Thanks, Michelle. That has never happened to me ever. Oh, rich comments. I think Jesus would love, and that we see Jesus in our sense of humor, in the ability to laugh at ourselves and you know, all around us together. I suspect Jesus laughed a lot more than is reported.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? No. I think Jesus would love that we desire to know and see him, and that we have set this time aside to do that together. Well, shall we close in some prayer? So the Lord be with you. Holy and gracious one, thank you for giving us the eyes to see and the ears to hear and the heart to feel your presence among us. For giving us the rare gift to recognize you and see you in our midst. And say, yes, this is something we think you love. Help us for naming that and declaring it. And be with us now as we go our separate ways. Continue to speak to us with your Spirit. Niggle at us around those personal declarations and the declarations of our congregations. Help us to stand boldly and with great courage and say those declarations. Give us the spirit of excitement that we know we share good news. We ask all of this in your Son's name. Amen. All right, folks, February 2nd, we're going to talk about Jesus and money and our own stories about money. It's going to be good. Bring your friends. Doesn't matter if you belong to the Episcopal Church, bring your friends.
Candle mounts.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Night.